Okay, great. So, thanks everyone. My name is Katie Stockton. I am a Program Management Officer with the Think Tank Initiative. And I'd like to thank you all very much for joining this webinar, which was originally a request, as we said, from the Sustainable Development Policy Institute in Pakistan. But we have had a lot of interest from others, which is great, and they'll join in as we go along. Otherwise, we are recording this so we can make that available to others. Before I hand it over to Melanie, I'd like to just go through how we're going to be running the questions. So I'm going to mute everybody's microphone because the feedback sometimes is a bit much. But if you have a question during the presentation, you can either use the chat box, which Bargavi EIC has already been using, which is great, or you can raise your hand, which is just above the chat box on the left-hand side. There's a little hand icon, and I'll be watching out for those, and then we can unmute you and you can ask your questions. So Melanie Brunet is our librarian here at IDRC. She's going to be giving the presentation today. She joined the center in July 2012, and her main responsibility is to support IDRC staff and our funded recipients with their research by assisting with complex searches and responding to questions regarding the center's library resources and services. She also provides training and informational sessions about library services and specific databases. So without further ado, let me pass it over to Melanie, who will be giving us the presentation. Over to you, Melanie.
Thank you. So I think I'm started sharing my desktop with you.
Yes.
Hopefully you can see the slides.
Yep, it looks good.
Yes. Okay. So, well, thank you for inviting me to introduce you to the library's services and resources for IDRC research partners. So I'll start by actually introducing you to the library staff. So it's a very small library. We're 3 people. There is Heidi, who is the reference assistant. There's Elizabeth, who's the document delivery specialist. And there is me, the librarian. And basically we serve over 3,000 partners around the world in English or in French. So what I'll tell you more about today, as an IDRC-funded researcher, you have access to the IDRC Digital Library, or we often just call it the IDL. You have access to commercial research databases. You also have access to our document delivery service, and you have access to some research help from me, the librarian. So I'll go through those 4 items throughout the presentation. So first, let me tell you a little bit about the IDRC Digital Library. It's a repository of research results and documents that are generated by IDRC-funded projects. So that includes documents written by IDRC staff and awardees, but also people like you, research partners. It's a repository that is publicly accessible online. So anyone who has an internet connection can access the IDRC Digital Library. So the address is on your screen, and actually I was going to ask if, Katie, would you like me to send you this presentation after so you can forward it to everybody?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Or the PDF, I should say.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. So the address is on your screen, but I'll show you what it looks like. So on your page now, what you see is basically the home page of the IDRC library, or digital library, sorry. And what we recommend that you do is always do a search using the advanced search feature. So that's available right on the left side of your screen at the top of the menu. So select that first before doing any other searches, because if you just search in the box that's there. It's basically like a Google search. So whatever term you put there will grab everything that has this word, and it really probably is not going to be relevant to what you're trying to find. So that's just a tip. So when you click on the research advanced search link on the left-hand side, then it takes you to another page where you're going to see the interface for the actual advanced search feature. So what you can do is in the drop-down menu, just select a type of search you'd like to do. So you can combine them. The ones I usually recommend are either title or subject. But if you know about a previous IDRC project, for example, and you actually know the number, you can also search by project number to see everything that has been written in terms of either publications or internal reports that we have in our digital library. So that's basically how to do a search. You'll see that there's this little link that says hints for searching. You can always click on that to get more tips on how to search in the IDL. You usually have to search one language at a time, unfortunately. So, and if you're not sure what the technical terms are for the types of documents that we have at IDRC, that will also tell you what the actual document types are and what they're called. So you can use those keywords to do searches. What I'm going to show you next is when you actually find something of interest to you, how do you access the actual full text of the document? So this is an example of an item that you can find in the IDRC Digital Library. And you'll see there are two ways. The digital library was created to be an open access repository, but unfortunately not everything in there is actually open access. So when you see an item that you like, always look in the gray box at the bottom of the record, and this will give you an idea of what you need to do. So you're basically always going to see a link to a PDF document. So you click on that. If it's open access, then automatically the document will open. If it is not open access, then you will be prompted to log in. So it means it's not open access, and in that case, what you need to do is click on the link that says request this document, and then you complete the document delivery form, and this is sent to us at the library in Ottawa, where we process your request and we send you the document. But as I'll explain a bit later in the presentation, there are copyright laws that may prevent us from sending you the whole document. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, but I'll talk a bit more about that in a few minutes. So this is basically what you'll see in the IDRC Digital Library. So I'm going through these fairly quickly because I believe you've been sent this morning an email that includes two documents. One is a one-pager in English and in French informing you of the library services that are available to you, and the other one is the guide to research databases at IDRC, and it includes a page about the IDRC Digital Library. So a lot of what I've said now you can actually find quickly in that little guide. So that's for the IDRC Digital Library. What I'd like to talk to you about now is the commercial databases. So really the things that otherwise, unless you have a subscription, you will not be able to access. So you can access those things through the library at IDRC. So basically all of our commercial databases come from a company called EBSCO. So we have databases and connectors with them. So connectors, there are the databases themselves that include a lot of full text. And there's also the connectors that basically allow you to search free databases that are available somewhere else on the internet, but you can search them at the same time as the EBSCO databases. that's what the connector does. So you'll see here, this is the list of our databases and connectors. And so through that, you have access to authoritative research literature, and they cover multiple disciplines. So very quickly, Academic Search Complete is multidisciplinary. Business Source Premier is, as it says, business, but also economics, also some human resources management in there. There's CAB Abstract, that's mostly agriculture and life sciences. And then there's the directory of open access journals. So as it says, it's basically a listing of open access journals. That's a connector to the outside that you can, but you can search it at the same time as you're searching EBSCO databases. The ebook collection, it's pretty basic right now. We only have the default titles that come free, quote unquote, with the rest of the databases. Right now, it's a lot of professional and personal development titles. Feel free to have a look at it. There's Econ Lit, that's mostly economics. There's Fuente Academica, that's multidisciplinary, and the content is mostly in Spanish. African Journals Online is also a connector, and that gives you access to journals about Africa or published in Africa. LISTA, that stands for Library and Information Science and Technology, so that's what this database covers. There's Medline, which is about medicine, health, and the life sciences. Then there's PERCE, which is actually a connector, and it covers social sciences and humanities, and it's in French. There's Public Affairs Index, so there's lots about politics, international affairs, and public policies in that particular database. Then there's PubMed Central, another connector, which is about medicine, health, and life sciences. And there's Cielo, that's also a connector, and it's scientific publications in Spanish and Portuguese. And Soc Index is about sociology and social sciences. And finally, there's TOC Premier, which is multidisciplinary, and what it does, it's actually, it offers the table of contents of thousands of journals and magazines. So that's my quick overview of that. So you have access to a lot of things through the commercial databases. Next, I'm going to tell you about how to access those commercial databases. So because we subscribe to them, you actually have to log in to be able to access them. So you need a username and password that's been assigned to you by the IDRC library. My understanding is that right now you don't have those, but they will be created for you next week. And you will receive, once they're created, you will receive an individual email containing that login information. Once you have obtained that email, that login information, you have received that email, if whenever later on you misplace it or you don't remember how to log in, or you have problems logging in, then send us an email at reference@idrc.ca. And when you communicate about access to commercial databases, you should always include your name, your current email address, and the IDRC project number. So what do you do once you have your login information? So when you have your login information, you go to our login page. So easyproxy at .idrc.ca/login. So a tip for you is to actually bookmark this link or add it to your favorites in your browser because you will likely go to it pretty often. So when you go to that link, the EasyProxy link, it brings you to this page. So it's the database access page. So this is where you log in. Make sure that you, usually by default, the top choice that says IDRC funded researcher is already selected, so make sure it is. And then you will enter your username and password at the bottom of the form, and then you'll select the login button. And then on the next page that should appear when you log in, it is the one that is the screenshot that appears to the left of the screen right now. And what you do once you get there is actually click on the first link on Academic Search Complete. And what that will do is bring you to finally to the EBSCO interface, where the first thing you'll be asked to do is select the language. So keep in mind that's the language of the interface itself, not the language of the databases. One thing to note is that the databases are include mostly English content, but except for Fuente Academica, that's mostly Spanish. So once you select a language, it actually brings you to the list of databases to which you have access, to the EBSCO databases to which you have access. So what you do from there is that if you want to just search one of them, you just click on the title, and it will take you to the title of the database, and then it will take you to that database. If you want to search more than one at the same time, then you check the checkbox, the little box next to the title of the databases that you want, and then you click on the Continue button at the top of the page, or there's also a Continue button at the bottom. So click on either of those after you've checked the title that you want. And then you will be able to do your searches. I would like to remind you that once you're in EBSCO, so the EBSCO database interface, you can always click on Ask the IDRC Library, which is at the top right of the page at all times. If you have any questions, if something's not working, you're confused, you need help, you can always email us through that link. So it was sent directly to the IDRC library. So unless there are questions at the end of the presentation about some kind of demo to show you how the databases work live, I'm actually going to skip that part about doing a search. I talk about it in the guide to research databases at IDRC, but I do want to tell you about how to access the full text of articles that you will encounter in those databases, because that will bring me to the document delivery service that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. So after you've performed a search and you obtain some results, you will encounter different options to access articles in full text. So what you'll see is that under each result, you will find links, and these are examples, links such as PDF full text, HTML full text, linked full text, and full text to link source. So I'll explain briefly what each actually does. PDF full text, it means that the full text of the article is available directly in the database in PDF. So click on it, it will download the document. HTML full text, which is not very frequent because most articles are usually in PDF, but every once in a while it's only in HTML. So when you encounter that link, it means that the full text is available in the database, but only in HTML. And the other two options is if you actually see, linked full text or full text to link source, this means that when you click on this, the full text is available through IDRC's electronic journal subscriptions, because the databases include a lot of full text already, but there are often embargoes that can be, 6 months, a year, more than a year. So we have access to that content, but to actually have access to the most recent issue of a journal, we actually have to subscribe to it in addition to the databases. So those two links will make the connection to our electronic journal subscriptions. And from there, you'll be able to download the PDF. So that brings me to the document delivery service, because not everything is in the databases in full text, and we don't subscribe to every journal. So what do you do when you want to have access to an article that you can't find the full text for? So the objective of the document delivery service is to give you access to the full text of the publication, usually mostly articles, that you would otherwise not be able to access as a researcher without a subscription or without purchasing the document. So there are two ways to send your request. So if you are in the EBSCO databases already, you will see a link that says Request Document Delivery. So you click on that, and I'll explain to you what that does. Or you can email the actual citation or the reference to the address on your screen, which is docdeliv@idrc.ca. Sorry, this is the French version of the email, but idrc.ca works just fine. And from there, you will receive the document by email, usually a PDF, and it's all at no cost to you. You don't have to take out a credit card or anything. It's not coming out of the funds for your particular project. It's taken care of by IDRC. So when you are in the EBSCO databases, I just told you about the link that you have to click on. So this is what it looks like. So request document delivery. When an article is not available in full text online, that allows you to send a request to us at the library. So you follow the link, you click on that, and then it will take you to the IDRC document delivery service page. So it's an automated service, and then to log into that, it's going to ask you another login. To log into that, you use the same username and password that you were given to access the databases in the first place. And then the form will be pre-populated already with the information that came from the database, and then you can just send it off, and we'll process it here at the library. So the other example is, as I said, when there's absolutely no link anywhere to just click request document delivery. So if you're doing a search, for example, in Google Scholar, you find something, but the full text is not there, you're in some other type of database, and there's no link to us at IDRC, then you send the request to our document delivery email address, as I said, docdeliv@idrc.ca. So just a few words on the restrictions. So we make every effort at the IDRC library to make requested documents available, but we do have to comply with two types of restrictions that affects our ability to actually share documents with you. So there are agreements with vendors and publishers, for example, EBSCO, our database provider, and publishers, well, the publishers for journals that we subscribe to. And there's also Canadian copyright laws that we have to comply with. So, and this next slide is probably the most important one, because that's the one that you have to remember whenever we send you something. This is what really you should be doing, or when you access something from the databases. So the agreements that we have with vendors and publishers, they apply to the full-text articles that come from the library, either through a subscription, so you access them directly with the research databases and the electronic journals, but also to articles that we'll purchase for you individually through the document delivery service. And what it means is that it should be used only by you as a research partner who is funded by IDRC. And it should be used only for for individual non-commercial use. And you should not be redistributing the documents that you obtain through these databases. And also, if we buy an article for you and we send it to you, you should not be redistributing it to everybody. Even if these other people that you might want to give it to participate in an IDRC project, these other researchers should be requesting these documents themselves from the IDRC library. Very quickly about Canadian copyright laws, because you don't have to worry about this, but it might explain why sometimes if you ask for a document in the IDRC digital library and we say we can only provide you with 10% of it, or we can't give you the document because we don't have actually copyright, that we don't own the copyright for it, these are the reasons why. Whenever we get a request for a document from the digital library, if it's an open access, that's not an issue because you've accessed it directly. But whenever you have to submit an actual request, these are the 6 things we have to keep in mind. So it's called fair dealing. In the United States, it's called fair use. These are the criteria that we have to apply to decide whether we can give you the document or not. So if you ever encounter something that, we can't give you the document, that would be why. You can always ask us why, and we can explain it to you, but just so you be aware of it. And I'm talking about those restrictions not because I want to discourage you from actually asking for documents, because this is what we do. This is a service we provide to you, and it will actually make more things available to you. But I just wanted to make you aware that there is a legal framework within which we have to work. So finally, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the research help that's available from me. So I can provide you with search strategies, so key concepts and relevant resources. I can provide further training sessions via Skype or WebEx on how to search IDRC databases and other free online resources. I can help you perform complex literature searches, and I can also give you some advice on selecting a journal for publication of your research results, which is also something that you should be talking about with the people who manage your project and who you report to at IDRC. But it's something that I can also help you narrow down or give you advice about, give you some suggestions, things that you should keep in mind. So that's about it. So I can take your questions.
Great, thank you very much, Melanie. That was.
I hope I didn't zip through too quickly.
Well, if anybody has questions, now is the time. So I'll try unmuting some people, and I know we have some people that join in as the presentation was going on. So anybody in SCPI? Hi, Mome. Is there anybody there with any questions?
Yes. I think the first question, Akshay, do you have a question? Okay. You'll have to come here. Katie, just a second, because we have this problem. Everybody who has to ask question has to come close to the computer, so I'm just sorry.
No problem.
Hello, this is Jamarsha. My question is regarding that login, as you mentioned that you will provide a code and kind of thing. Do you have only access to academic journals, or can you have access to other databases as well, like Elsevier, Science Direct, other databases? Only we have access to EBSCO host. On the basis of that login, you will provide it.
Right. Yes, right now we're subscribing only to EBSCO databases. So what you saw the list, that's what's available once you log in. For example, we don't have Scopus. I know it's a big one, but we don't have that. So this is what you'll see. But if you find an article, for example, that's from an Elsevier journal and it's not available to you, then by all means, send us the reference or the citation, and we'll look for it for you and find it for you. So, but yeah, the list that you saw, that's what it is, and unfortunately, it comes all from EBSCO. They've been they have some quality databases, but I know it doesn't include everything that people might want.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Sure. I'll be able to Melanie.
Yeah.
Hi, Melanie. This is Fayaz from SCPI, and I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah.
It's about what if I'm not working on an IDRC funded project? Can I still put a request for access to some documents or some journals?
Well, you will have to have an account. Like, we'll have to create an account if you're. Well, maybe Katie can actually help you with that question as well, because since you was talking earlier about how well, you may not be directly funded, but you're working on something that's related to an IDRC project with the think tank initiative. So in that case, if you are approved in the sense that the team here that says that you're working on this project for IDRC, even if you're not receiving directly any funding, as long as someone submits your name to us, we'll create an account for you.
Yeah, I think with the think tank initiative, it's a little bit different because typically IDRC projects are to sort of individual researchers, and they're working on one specific project. But with TTI, we're providing core funding to the institution as a whole. So, yeah, Melanie, we'll have to talk about that and if there's sort of a precedent for that. But I would think that sort of the researchers within the institution should be able to have access to the library services.
Yeah, and that includes document delivery.
Yes, that's right. I see we've got two questions, one from Shilpi and one from Asif. So, Momi, I'm just going to put you and SDPI on hold for a moment, and we're going to go to Asif. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. We have already received username and password a few months ago. So is it still valid for the commercial database search or not? Or you will be sending new?
Well, if you're already, so you've already received something from the IDRC library?
That's right, yeah.
Yes, okay, then it should be the same.
Months ago.
If it's just a few months ago, it should be the same, because we double check to see if, names that are submitted to us, if, they're already in the database, if, someone already has that. So, yes, if you've received it, then that's what it is. Is there any problem?
Next question.
Yes.
Okay. And another question is that the password and username that we received was in the name of Dr. Farida Hall, who is our managing director. So can we send individual names as well, the researchers who are there in the video?
Okay, so that was sent for one person in particular, and you've been using it? Or it's been used by other people? Or do you want one that's just for you?
Yeah, can you use that password all of us can use, or should we send request for individual?
Well, it shouldn't. Well, the thing is, it shouldn't be used by more than one person. Maybe for this particular for TTI, it's true. It's a bit the way that we work doesn't fit very well. It's because when you do document delivery requests, if it is sent to a particular email address. And it's always good to know, so if this account is attached to one person in particular and other people are using it, then we're actually not sure where we're sending. You need to have access to this person's email because that's what we have. Sorry.
My point is that other people are not using it, but we just have one account in the name of managing director. So what should we do? Should we write the name of other individuals here?
Yes. You should provide the name of other individuals that need to have access to this as part of the working for TTI, and so include so provide this to Katie. So the names of the people, their email address, and then this will be forwarded to us at the library, and we'll create accounts for these people. So you don't have to have just one person and then share it.
That's right. So we can have more than one account in one organization.
Oh yes, because actually you should have individual accounts. So if there's 10 people, more than that, that's fine, as long as we have the name of everybody that needs to be included.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Asif. And let's go to Shilpi. Are you there, Shilpi?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi.
My first question is almost answered. It was similar to the earlier question. The second question I have is that we are actually in the process of devising some new current awareness services for our researchers. So anything in specific that IDRC is doing which might give us some ideas on how to go about?
Sorry, I didn't get the part about what you were introducing.
We are actually in the process of devising some current awareness services for our in-house security.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were wondering, is IDRC also doing something in similar?
Well, did you? So did you want to? Sorry, did you? Well, did you want to? If you want to do some awareness of what the services that are available from the IDRC library, I would that one pager that was sent. It's actually one side is in French, one side is in English. I would definitely say you could distribute that because that.
I think that's fine. I'll go through it, and after that, if I have any specific questions, I'll write to you.
Yeah, because it's and on that particular one pager, there are the email addresses of each individual and what they do. And there's the list of the services that we provide, which is, very quickly basically what I've gone through today, but in just one page. So by all means, if you want to further distribute this, that 2-page document, then I think that's probably the easiest and the best way.
Okay, thanks a lot. It helps a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Great, thanks. Let's go back to SCPI in a moment. Are there more questions from you guys?
Yes. There are 4 more.
Okay, great.
I'll request Nishant first to go.
Thank you for providing access to the IDRC database. Previously, I requested IDRC to provide me an article, a research article, and I received that article after 4 to 5 working days. So can we reduce the number of days required for the article? Is it possible?
It may not be possible because we only have one person who actually does this. So it's a matter of staff availability. Because we deal and that's Elizabeth, who is the document delivery specialist, and it's not the actual process of buying an article that takes time. It's the actually going through all of the requests, because in one day Elizabeth can get 100 requests. So she can't get through all of them. That's the main problem. So I can't promise you that it can be any shorter. But that would take, it'll be faster.
Next question is mine. I'm Simi Vana from SCPI. Basically, my question is regarding reference managers. For researchers, sometimes it's very hard to manage references. So I'm just wondering if you have any software to manage bibliography or references.
Right. So, well, I didn't talk about it too much because we're thinking of switching to another system soon. But when you log in and you see the list of databases, so when you log in with the username and password you're going to be provided, actually I'm still sharing my screen, so I'm going to go back to that page. Yes. So when you log in, and then, I don't know if you see that already, but at the bottom of that list, because at the top there's Academic Search Complete, and that's the one you click on to get to EBSCO. But right at the bottom of that list there's a thing called Refworks. So Refworks is what we have in terms of bibliographic management system. And when you click on that, because if you don't have an account already, you'll have to create one. So Refworks is all online, so it's in the cloud. You don't have to install anything on your computer. And you'll have your account through IDRC, but you create an individual account. So that link will take you to the homepage of Refworks. I can probably show you right now how this works, just very quickly. This is internal, but it works the same way. So I don't know how fast.
In order to log in Refworks, we have to always put some kind of code, right?
Yeah, but that will be up to you. Yeah, so for example, this is a Refworks homepage. I don't know if can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so you go to log in on the left-hand side, and that will open another window, and by default here, because it's by IP recognition, it says already International Development Research Center. That's my institution, so I could sign up for a new account. I already have an account, so I'm not going to do that, but here it says already it's the right institution. If it doesn't say that, and probably won't, then you have to enter a group code, and the group code is RWIDRC. So if there's any interest in actually using this, just let me know, and you can email me directly. And if you're not sure how to create an account and all of that, anyone who's interested, I'll be happy to provide that information. So this is what we have available now. So it's Refworks. This is subscription based. We pay for that. You don't. So you just create an individual account. You name it whatever you want, and then you can start using it. But we also have, we're exploring the possibility of switching to Zotero. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but Zotero is actually open source and, free. And, but that means you have to install it on your computer. And it's not very complicated, but it's actually a much more powerful tool. So, that you can actually explore on your own if you want to go with that. So it's, www.zotero.org. So you download it. It's available for many platforms. Although it's in terms of your browser, it's only available it works best with Firefox. So just keep that in mind. So right now, if you need any help with setting up a Refworks account, or you'd like to get training specific for that, then by all means, you might want to talk this over with your team, and then we can organize something if that's what you'd like.
Sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I am Rinu Manastar. Before asking a question, I would like to comment on it that it will really help the researchers in completing their research. But my question is that how it will help to those who are working in finance department, HR departments, or marketing department. I mean, if they are able to get material on marketing, on human resource management, or in supply chain.
So how do these people how can they market those services? Sorry, I'm.
No. Okay, I'll just again repeat the question. Basically, you're just asking that. Yeah, you're just asking this thing is useful for the researchers who are working on different teams. So do you also have some papers or some material available on marketing and other such topics? Finance.
Okay, sorry. Well, for the commercial databases, that might be found in either in the database called Business Source Premier, or maybe EconLit, and possibly in the first database that's Multidisciplinary Academic Search Complete. But it's not something that is, we don't have a database just for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
You know? Okay, there's another question from a colleague, and he wants to know that what is the difference between registering on your website, because when you open the website, so there's this option for registration, and then you are also giving us some username and password. So what's the difference and I do understand probably it's that I'm just answering the same thing myself, that probably the difference is that the access won't be to several international journals, I suppose. So what's the difference between registering to your website and then this username and password?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, so do you mean like from here, from the database access point?
No, probably I believe what he is referring to is when you open your web page.
The first one. So then you have this, registration form which opens. So probably, I guess he's asking about that. So do you also have to register to get a password and username, or is it that you can just do with username and password?
Well, once to actually have access to so the only username and password that you will get from IDRC or the IDRC library is the one you'll get just one set, and it allows you to log into the proxy page, which is what is showing right now on the screen. So once you're there, then it takes you to the next page, which just lists, what the databases are, and there's Refworks at the bottom of that list. So that's what it does. We're supposed to actually, soon we're supposed to add a link to our directory of journals, so you could actually browse just the journals if you don't want to go through the databases. But that link is unfortunately not there yet. And it's something that, because I'm not the one who has to change it, takes more time than I would like. So unfortunately for now, it's not possible to actually browse the journals that we actually have access to at IDRC. But the connection is made through the databases. So if you're doing a search for something, the link will be made to what we have in terms of electronic journal subscriptions. But yeah, there's not a tidy, nice list that you can just click on and be like, oh yeah, this is, I can see everything that you have that starts with the letter L or something, and then browse the different issues. That's not actually, the link is not there yet, but that can be easily added. It's just that I'm not the one who has to do it. It's our IT department.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so hopefully you'll have access to that soon. But right now you can access all of those things, but you have to you have to find an article and then make the connection to it. So it's not super, it's not, very easy to do that, but yeah, once the link will be added to that page that shows up after you log in. So you can actually just just browse the titles. So does that help? Is that what was being referred to?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because the other thing is, if you're doing a search online, because it's also possible that you're doing a search online, not search through the databases, and then you end up, for example, on the Taylor and Francis website, which is a publisher of many journals. And when you try to access an article, it may ask you for a login. Well, that's not a login that you have. This is when you actually contact the IDRC library and do a document delivery request. Because that login is not going to work. That login only works for that page that I showed you to log in to get access to the databases. And later on, when you do a document delivery request, that's within EBSCO. And it's the document delivery system that you have to log into, which is the same login information. But otherwise, it doesn't work anywhere else.
Okay. Thank you, Melania.
Okay. Sorry that was long.
No, I do understand.
Okay.
I just had a couple of questions as well as some requests.
Sure.
The first one is that most of these people sitting around the table, and also because we have expanded in past 1 year, and since the time I remember, I got a password and username and I never used it. I tried to, but it was so difficult I did not use it, so I got discouraged. But now hopefully after this orientation I'll be able to sort of use it, but I do not have that anymore. So the thing is that I also wanted to request and ask that do I have to submit you a list of new researchers and their emails so that you can sort of process these usernames and passwords?
Yes, we need a list. You can submit it to Katie. Yeah, right? And then okay. I mean, it's good if it's all centralized, because in the end, Katie, you will know more about, every person, how many people. So you'll get to see that too. So if you send that list, make sure to include name and current email address for all these people, So individual researcher's name and their individual email address. So send that list to Katie, and this will be sent to us, and we'll process it and create accounts for everybody.
Okay.
So if you had one and it has expired, you can request another one.
Okay. On library at the email that you gave, library@idrc.ca, right?
Yeah, all of these addresses, there's reference at idrc.ca. Wherever we'll redirect to where it's supposed to go. So it's, library is probably the safest one, because then we can actually send it to the proper person and it will be taken care of.
Yeah. Thank you, Milan, for that. And then just a couple of more, I want to give you more time.
Sure.
One is that the guide that you mentioned at 10 in the morning, I somehow did not get that.
Oh.
And the other thing is that the database that you, somebody asked a question, Simi asked a question about the reference work. And you also sort of offered that you could hold a workshop on that.
Yeah.
So we could sort of talk about that too.
Yes.
Okay, because that would be really helpful for all the researchers here, because we do not want to spend more time on arranging our references, honestly.
Okay.
But not that, but apart from that, yeah.
Okay. So, if you can just get in touch with me, and we can organize something similar to this. Maybe the week that you're not in touch with, or I can be something like this morning, if you'd like. Friday morning.
Sure.
For us, not for you.
And Mome, I just sent the documents that we were talking about 15 minutes prior to the presentation, so you may not have seen them yet, but they're there.
Okay. Thank you, Katie, for the clarification.
No problem.
And from ACPI, on behalf of everyone, I really thank you for this orientation session. This was really, really useful. And I can see this look on everybody's face. They're really happy to have orientation on this, and also that they are happy to get passwords, which they will be getting hopefully next week or sometime.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
As long as you send us all the names of everybody.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Everyone. I suppose even HR and finance.
I think one more question.
Well, if they have anything to do with this project.
Yeah, sure.
Bhargavi, are you there? Did you have a question? Hi, Bhargavi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, did you have a question?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead.
Okay, is this login ID to be created in one person's name, or can it go by organization's name? That is question number one. And question number two would be, can this login ID and password be used by everyone in the organization, or will you create a separate list for everyone?
So it will have to be a separate password and login for each individual within the organization. There is no organization-wide password.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Great. Okay. And Mome, I guess we've answered all of your questions in SCPI.
Yes.
And, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Someone has their hand up somewhere.
Yeah, Asif, did you have another question?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And Shilpi, are you fine? Did you have another question?
No, thanks. It's perfectly fine.
Okay, great. All right, I think we've come to the end. And a huge thank you to Melanie. That was very useful. And to everybody on the call, if you collect all of the names and addresses of everybody who would like access within your organization to the IDRC Library and Services, send them to me, and I will make sure they get to the right place, and we'll hopefully get that all set up for you next week. So thanks, everyone, and I guess we'll be in touch about the Refworks training for another time. And thanks, everyone. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.